book discussion leading by Sir Alex Ferguson, former head coach of Manchester United. I want to draw the line between Alex Ferguson and Ulysses Grant. And my thesis is that leaders, winners, they happen in a magic convolution of technology, culture, and the unique personality of the leader. That when these vectors come together, we have this force that leads to winning. This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's July 10th, 2021. This is Kremdelko. It's a Saturday, so there's no update. We are up 1.9% for the year. The market's up 16.3%. We're underperforming by 14.4%. So I just finished the book Leading by Sir Alex Ferguson, former head coach of Manchester United. He was an area-defining manager. He won numerous trophies. He is famous for winning the triple in 1999 and many other trophies. But most importantly, I think the big breakthrough that Alex Ferguson delivered, and that's why he's so cherished in the literature and also in management literature, not just when it's about sports. He turned around Manchester United. He made a winning club out of a franchise that was, quite frankly, deteriorating. This is, I think, the most important insight of the book. So the book is his story, his beginnings, and then a lot of anecdotes, it's a very anecdotal book. So this is not a dry management philosophy type book. This is more like, hey, this is what happened type of book. Ferguson grows up in Scotland. He's an ordinary lad. He plays there for several teams, no-name teams. Then he manages teams, a little bit more known teams, not the Celtic Rangers or any of that, Glasgow Rangers. I don't know the details of Scottish soccer or football. But the point is, he is not a big name, everybody wants him type of manager. But somehow he gets the job at Manchester United. Now, in those days, Manchester United is an important franchise in English football, but it's not the Manchester United of today, the billion-dollar stock market quoted, American-owned super franchise. This is still a pretty modest English football franchise trying to make it, and Ferguson turns it around. Now, the key factor in his success, in my view, is he brought a lot of personality. Ferguson brought an enormous amount of personality, frugality, grit, understanding of the game, all that stuff. I can't emphasize that enough. But what really made him successful, I think, in my view, is in particular his focus on a specific skill set that he wanted from his players. And the most important development in his tenure is the opening up of markets for players, meaning players from everywhere could come and join English football teams, and the money pouring in. So you had technology, culture, and money coming together, and him focusing on the skill set. And this is emphasized in the book in several parts of the book, where he talks about the tradition of English football to recruit players from around 30 miles radius of the team. People at Manchester United tended to be from Manchester, even from the parts of Manchester that traditionally support Man U, and vice versa, Man City and all that stuff. He was from the get-go, and I think partly because he, as a Scotsman, was sort of a stranger to that culture, so he wasn't embedded in the culture, and therefore absolutely open to say, look, I don't care how good you are. If you're from Africa, South America, or Europe, anywhere, just play for me. He focused on skills, and I think this sounds almost ridiculous today. Of course, you want to focus on skills as a manager, but I think in the times when he joined United, for even more than a decade probably while he was at United, the concept has always been, we work with what we got, versus his approach was, I'm going to find the best that fits my team and my style and win that way. Of course, this is not enough. Other managers had the same circumstances to draw from. So I don't want to just say, oh, he got lucky because he got this opening up of the markets. But he was, from the get-go, keenly focused on skill set and skill set adaptive to his style. So he recruited players that fit his style. This is very prevalent in many passages of the book where he talks about how he recruited, I don't know, such and such from here, such and such from there. He had some lucky hands, such as Cristiano Ronaldo. But overall, the people he recruited, while all very good soccer players, excuse me, I'm alternating between soccer and football because I live in the United States where we call the game soccer, and I'm in Europe right now where the game is called football. I hope you guys bear with me. It is obviously the same sport. So again, there were very, very good players, are very good players in many teams, Bayern Munich, Man City, Arsenal, whatnot. But the recruitment of Sir Alex Ferguson was completely independent of nationality, completely independent of, let's say, I only want fast people or body people or technical people. He just recruited people that fit his strategy. And that strategy, he doesn't talk that much about it. What is it exactly? I think it is a mix of grit, it is a mix of technical ability and drive towards the goal and winning at all costs. So meaning it's not about playing beautifully or any of that stuff. I think, but again, it is absolutely paramount that you bring in a guy who has already the mindset of, I want the best players that fit my style. And then you have the opening up of the culture, and also legally you were allowed to recruit players from Portugal or Africa, and that enabled this humongous success. Of course, others followed, and I think this also explains why it was so difficult for Manchester United to continue on this success path after, because it was so, the handwriting of Ferguson is so deeply ingrained in the club that it was very difficult for other managers to come in and recruit their players for their style, because I think they didn't know exactly what made the success of Man U. And it was this combination of the Sir Alex Ferguson type style and his ability to recruit the people that fit to him. When then David Moyes and others and Van Gaal and even Solskjaer now followed, they wouldn't know exactly how to navigate in this environment. And I think the solution for them would be, of course, to first sit down and think about what kind of football do I want to play and then recruit the right players, because they seem to have the means to do that. So, for example, a Paul Pogba, while a great player, might not fit the style of, let's say, Van Gaal and so on and so forth. So I think this is the key takeaway from this book, that it was not necessarily a magic trick or anything. It is the ability to do something that is important, and you're able to do it at the right time, at the right place. This is the line I want to draw to Ulysses Grant, because reading Ulysses Grant's biography and about the Civil War in the United States, by the way, Ulysses Grant is the general of the United States Northern Army fighting against the South in the Civil War, and then became a president of the United States. And I don't want to talk too much about the Civil War here, but I think what struck me in that biography the most was that it was that technology. In those days, it was telegraph, and the ability to move large troops from one place to the other efficiently through also means such as the railway and all those stuff. So new technologies were evolved, and the Ulysses Grant's style was to put lots of numbers against his opponent at fast pace. This was his style, and it fit perfectly into the new technology and culture that evolved during the Civil War. And I think that's the main reason why he won. It wasn't necessarily the money and the might of the North and all these things, because the South was fighting fiercely and also very successfully for a long time. But overall, it was again this ability to, this coincidence of vectors coming together. It was Ulysses Grant's style of putting large numbers at fast pace in specific places, and the ability to telegraph, and also the ability to move fast, which was enabled through technologies like telegraph and the railway. So I just want to emphasize this, because very often in hindsight we think of these leaders as geniuses and all that stuff, but it really comes down to what are the vectors of my time right now that I can take advantage of, and then also hopefully I have enough uniqueness and enough unique culture and enough of my unique abilities that I can leverage into this particular situation to be able to win. This is kind of my conclusion of the book, Leading by Sir Alex Ferguson. Again, it's an anecdotal book in a sense that it's not a dry sort of to-do list of management. Luckily, it's a little bit too anecdotal for me in a sense that he talks too much about players that he likes and doesn't like, which I don't quite find interesting. But overall, still a very insightful book when it comes to leading, when it comes to winning. And Of course, I draw the line a little bit also to the hedge fund business, and I think it can't be more true in the hedge fund business that the winning here, which is the generating of return, really just doesn't just depend on you, but it also depends on the technologies and the movements and the developments available out there that you can take advantage of, and hopefully your strategy and your personality and your uniqueness fits into that culture, into that technological environment, so you can take advantage and make money. This is at least the way we operate at Orange Capital Partners, in the sense that we invest in fundamentally new concepts and engineering practices with large impact. Other people might have different approaches where technology and developments and engineering practices are less important, but for us, this is the key. Thank you.